To what extent was Bolshevik success in October 1917 caused by the errors of the Provisional Government? The Bolshevik seizure of power in Petrograd on 24-26 October 1917, Old Style, was one of the most consequential events of the 20th century. In just a few hours, a small, disciplined group of revolutionaries overthrew a government that had replaced the 300-year Romanov dynasty only 8 months earlier. While the Provisional Government's (PG) numerous and profound errors undoubtedly created the conditions for this success, Bolshevik victory was not simply the result of their opponents' mistakes. It also required the ideological clarity, organizational genius, and ruthless timing provided by Lenin and Trotsky. The PG's failures were necessary but not sufficient. They opened the door, but the Bolsheviks walked through it with purpose. The PG's errors were catastrophic and cumulative. From its very inception in March 1917, it suffered from a fundamental lack of legitimacy. It had not been elected. It emerged from the Duma's temporary committee and shared power uneasily with the Petrograd Soviet under the system of dual power. This structural weakness was compounded by a series of disastrous policy decisions. Most damaging was the decision to continue Russia's involvement in the First World War. The PG, dominated by liberals and moderate socialists, believed that honoring Allied commitments and avoiding a separate peace was essential for Russia's future as a democratic great power. Yet the war was already deeply unpopular. The June offensive, launched under Kerensky's direction, was a military disaster that produced massive casualties and further eroded army discipline. Soldiers deserted in their tens of thousands, and the slogan "Peace, Bread and Land" resonated powerfully because the PG offered none of these. Economic and social failures reinforced military discontent. The PG postponed land reform, fearing it would alienate landowners and destabilize the war effort. Peasants, impatient after centuries of oppression, began seizing estates anyway. In the cities, inflation soared, food shortages worsened, and industrial production collapsed. The PG's failure to call elections for a Constituent Assembly until November, after the Bolshevik coup, made it appear deliberately anti-democratic. Its liberal ministers seemed out of touch with the radicalized mood of workers and soldiers. By autumn 1917, the PG had lost control of the streets, the factories, and large sections of the armed forces. The Kornilov affair in September 1917 was perhaps the PG's most self-destructive error. When General Lava Kornilov attempted, or appeared to attempt, a right-wing coup, Kerensky armed the Bolshevik Red Guards and appealed to the Soviets for help in defending the revolution. The Bolsheviks gained immense prestige as defenders of the revolution, while the moderate socialists were discredited and the army's loyalty to Kerensky evaporated. Weapons distributed to Bolshevik supporters were never fully recovered. Kerensky's subsequent attempt in October to move against the Bolsheviks by closing their newspapers and ordering arrests was too little, too late. It merely triggered the very insurrection it was meant to prevent. In short, the PG repeatedly armed, legitimized, and radicalized its most dangerous opponents while alienating its natural base of support. Nevertheless, to attribute Bolshevik success primarily to PG errors would be to ignore the agency and skill of the Bolshevik leadership. In April 1917, Lenin returned from exile and issued the April Theses, rejecting any support for the PG and demanding all power to the Soviets. His slogans, "Peace, Bread and Land," were brilliantly simple and directly addressed the popular grievances the PG had failed to solve. While many senior Bolsheviks initially favored a more cautious approach, Lenin's single-minded insistence on immediate insurrection proved decisive. He recognized that the PG's weakness created a fleeting revolutionary window that might never reopen. Equally critical was Leon Trotsky's organizational role. As chairman of the Petrograd Soviet from September and head of the Military Revolutionary Committee, MRC, Trotsky turned the Soviet into an instrument of Bolshevik power. He coordinated the Red Guards, won over key military units, especially the garrison and Baltic Fleet sailors, and planned the actual takeover with military precision. The insurrection itself was remarkably bloodless in Petrograd, precisely because Trotsky ensured that strategic points, bridges, telegraph offices, the Winter Palace, were seized efficiently while most of the city slept. Without Trotsky's practical genius, Lenin's vision might have remained just another immigré fantasy. Bolshevik membership had also grown dramatically, from around 24,000 in February to perhaps 200, 300, 000 by October, largely because they were the only major party consistently opposing the war and promising radical solutions. Yet even this support was concentrated in the cities and among soldiers. The Bolsheviks remained a minority in the countryside and among moderate socialists. The revolution succeeded not because of overwhelming popular mandate, but because the PG had collapsed as an effective authority. Power, in the famous phrase, lay in the streets, and the Bolsheviks were the best organized group ready to pick it up. Historians remain divided on the balance of responsibility. Liberal and some Western accounts, e.g. Richard Pipes, emphasize Bolshevik opportunism and the accidental nature of their victory, stressing how the PG's blunders handed them power almost by default. Marxist and Soviet-era interpretations naturally downplay PG weakness and highlight the inevitability of proletarian revolution guided by Leninist leadership. More balanced modern views recognize a symbiotic relationship. The PG's eras created a vacuum of authority, while Lenin and Trotsky possessed the ideological drive, tactical flexibility, and organizational capacity to exploit it. The July days had shown that premature action could fail. By October, the PG had become so discredited that the Bolshevik coup met almost no effective resistance. In conclusion, the eras of the Provisional Government were the single most important cause of Bolshevik success in October 1917. By continuing the war, delaying reform, alienating the army, and ultimately arming their own destroyers during the Kornilov crisis, the PG engineered its own collapse and created the power vacuum into which the Bolsheviks stepped. However, without Lenin's uncompromising vision and Trotsky's masterful organization, that vacuum might have been filled by chaos, moderate socialists, or even a right-wing counter-revolution. The PG dug its own grave, but the Bolsheviks were the ones with the shovel and the determination to use it. To that extent, Bolshevik success was caused by the errors of the Provisional Government, but it was secured by the strengths of the Bolshevik Party.